Hello, hello, Cassie Brown here. I am thrilled to welcome you to the Brace for Impact podcast. I've been incredibly blessed to work with and coach some of the top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers in the industry. And do you know the one thing that they all had in common? They didn't wait for the perfect time, but hit the ground running. They learned to see opportunity in motion and just leap. I created this podcast to help other entrepreneurs own their calling, expand their influence, get uncomfortable, embrace the growth of the journey to leave an impact on the world around them. For those who are ready to stop playing it small, to pick up the mantle of contribution that our clients in the world so desperately need. If that's you, then get ready to brace for impact as I share with you the top strategies, real truths, and hacks to crash through the obstacles and arrive in alignment of integrity, impact, and income. It's time to initiate the ripple effect of change. Hey guys, Cassie Brown here, and I am speaking today with an incredible human, artist, and just creative producer. Gabe is with me today. He is the CEO and founder of Legion Beats. He is a hip-hop music producer who's worked with artists like Snoop Dogg, Kendrick, Lamar, and Too Short, but more importantly, he's built his own brand business called Legion Beats, which provides up-and-coming rappers the resources they need to succeed, including music production, mixing, and mastering promotion. He's done this not only inside the music industry, but he is a rock star of his own right within the funnel industry. And so I'm really, really excited to welcome him to the Brace for Impact podcast. So everyone, please help me welcome Gabe Schillinger and just his story, sharing his journey in, as a creative. Were you an artist yourself? Like, as a creative artist and figuring out, how to transition just the music industry as a whole?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, so my official title is music producer. So a lot of times, in our little world, the artist is more like the vocalist, but really as a producer, you're creating art. So definitely that was my background, was really from the creative side, and definitely for, probably the first 10 plus years of my career, really thought of myself as just an artist, or another way to put it is like the technician of just the person doing the thing, and then leaving all the responsibility for selling the thing and promoting the thing and the business side of the thing to other people. And that was kind of how I identified, was I was just the guy who made the music. And it wasn't until about 6 years ago that I finally kind of transitioned. I was really kind of out of desperation, honestly, where for me, I'd been in the music industry kind of playing that music game for a while, where it's basically me trying to sell my music to record labels. And it's a tough game. It's a game where you get a lot of rejection. You have to constantly be chasing after the people who work at the record labels and the artists, the vocalists and all that kind of stuff. And I actually did better at that game than some. I was able to get songs on the radio and some songs on TV and work with, some of the rappers and singers that I grew up listening to, and, all kinds of stuff that's like, some pretty cool stuff and things that you might look at and say like, oh wow, this guy's doing it. He's making it. But the thing is, I was barely scraping by financially, even with that, somewhat decent level of success playing that sort of industry game. And so I was pretty much ready to give up. I was like, well, I guess I got to get a real job, and this is not I can't sustain myself doing this. And so almost out of desperation, I was like, well, maybe I can try to do some stuff online. Like maybe I can sell my music online, sell my beats online. So as a producer, as a hip hop producer, I'm selling basically the instrumentals, the music that a rapper or singer would rap or sing to. And we call those beats, right? So I was like, all right, maybe I can sell beats online. And so started to do that, kind of modeled after what the other producers who were selling beats online were doing. And then luckily came across a producer who is kind of doing things a little bit differently. He goes by Anno Domini, and he's now a friend and business partner of mine. But at the time I was like, wow, this guy's doing something kind of different. I didn't really know what it was. But I remember I clicked on one of the links and I saw the URL was annodomini.clickfunnels.com. And I was like, I wonder what that is. I was kind of like funnel hacking before I knew what that was, and just trying to like figure out what he was doing. And then that just literally changed my life, where from there I found out about ClickFunnels, found out about Russell Brunson, read .com secrets, and it just like opened up my mind to like, not only is it possible for me to maybe like learn the marketing side of things, but like like realized that I actually really like this, and this is actually could be really fun, and like just completely changed my perspective from having, thinking myself as just that artist, that technician, to like, oh no, wait, I could be like a marketer. I think, like this actually seems pretty fun, and the way that that Russell explains it got me excited about it, and seemed doable. And sure enough, started kind of doing things that in my industry, in my niche, as far as selling beats online, were very innovative, where at the time, but really I was just doing the same stuff, just doing what Russell teaches, basically, that people are doing in other industries, of using funnels, of, understanding your customer avatar, of, creating a true offer instead of trying to sell a commodity, a lot of these concepts that for, a lot of us in the entrepreneur world, certainly in Russell Brunson's world, it's normal to us, but there wasn't a lot of people doing it, or almost anybody doing it in my world. And so I was able to really climb fairly quickly the ranks there, and actually be able to build a sustainable business. Was able to do the first 6-figure launch in my niche, where we ended up actually doing $200,000 in a week, which is like, for some entrepreneurs, that's like, yeah, sure, whatever, no big deal. But I mean, this is a niche where there's plenty of people in my position who literally are struggling to make any money, so that was something that opened my eyes to what's even possible, and another thing that's really cool is it's helped open other producers' eyes to what's possible. And so what I've been doing lately now is actually teaching other producers about using funnels, about doing, some of the things that I've been doing. And so that's kind of my next thing now, which I'm really excited about, is actually teaching and inspiring other producers. So that's kind of what I've been on recently. That's pretty much my journey up till now.
I love it. It's so inspiring because, I know, right, today's role, you're a producer, but I really think like there's a deep appreciation and like within the heart blood of an artist, that drives you for, achieving a certain experience for when someone listens to the music, and what you want them to get out of that emotional connection and the result that you want to communicate. And just being able to lay that path of, you were absolutely a pioneer in the industry, and being able to marry that, because like you said, a lot of people, I mean, that's why you hear starving artists, like the term starving artist. A lot of people have the passion for the art and the craft, but they haven't figured out how to marry it. So how did you, and by the way, like Expert Secrets and .com Secrets, that was my gateway drug too. It was one of those things where it's like that little light bulb went off, where it was like, I have all of this stuff inside of me already. It's just figuring out how to channel it. So how can you talk us through that? Like, in those beginning moments of literally thinking, I need to go get a real job, to making that transition and a huge leap of faith.
Yeah. Well, gosh, there's a bunch of stuff in there. So I'd say one of the things that you said there was talking about how with music, the idea is that you sort of take somebody on this emotional journey, right? They start here, and then at the end of the song, they're here, they're better for the experience. They've experienced some emotion. They've had some transformation. And to me, that's such a parallel to marketing, right? That's exactly what we want to do with our businesses. And I think there's just a disconnect for a lot of artists, where they think of their art as that's where all of my creativity, all of my energy, all of my focus goes there. And then the business, the marketing is like this burden, this thing that I have to do, that's not fun, that's not interesting, that's not creative, that's like maybe even evil, because they have these thoughts about money or selling, that like it's bad. And so for me, what eventually happened was this mindset shift, where I actually think of them as being very, very similar, where it's just another, now my marketing, my business is another way for me to express that creativity. It's another way for me to bring somebody on that emotional journey. It's another way for me to take somebody from point A to point B and be better off for it, just like, with my music. So I think that a big mindset shift that I hope artists can have is to really embrace entrepreneurship and embrace the marketing and embrace the business side of things the same way that they do their music. And I think for me, like you said, the gateway drug was .com Secrets and Expert Secrets. And learning those concepts in a way that made it interesting and made it fun, and made it feel like it was kind of a game, and just the same way for me as a music producer, like we'll geek out on the different software and the plugins to like create music, right? Like you'll hear a song and you'll be like, oh, how did they do that? And you have to kind of reverse engineer it, right? It's like funnel hacking. It's like, okay, what plugins did they use? What sounds did they use? How did they manipulate the sound? And then of course it's the same thing with your marketing, right? Okay, cool. How did they put that campaign together? How did they put that funnel together? What's the psychology behind the words in this email or this video? And so I think for me, it was just really having a completely different mindset of, oh man, this business stuff kind of sucks. And it's like, I wish, like, it's just an unfortunate thing that I have to do. But now it's like, no, actually that stuff's really fun. And they go together, and you have your customer avatar in mind for your music and for the marketing. It's the same thing. And you're taking them on that journey, both with your marketing and your music. And it's another way to just have fun. Honestly, I have fun. I love doing it. So just like I like to sit down and make a beat, I like to, sit down and map out a funnel. Like to me now, it's like the same type of thing. And so I hope that more and more artists can kind of realize that that's possible, and then actually experience it, and then start to have fun doing it. And that's when you can really make a great living doing what you love, is when you kind of merge those together.
Oh my goodness. And I love it. You can hear your passion and that you do love what you do. Like me and my husband, we have that conversation all the time, where sometimes, I'll get up at 5 a.m. I have 6 a.m. calls, and like it never feels like work ever. And that is honestly what, if I could give that gift to everyone on earth for their life to never feel like work, and it be that revenue generator that provides the lifestyle that they want, whether it's, traveling or the freedom, or just heck, spending the day at the park, or an extra long coffee date with a friend. So before you got to that point, before you fully embraced it, was there a time where it just felt like you almost just kind of completely gave up? Was there an internal struggle where this is just way too new and different that it's too scary?
Yeah. I mean, for sure, for me, I've had many times in my journey where I was ready to give up. And I thought I had to. And that was everything from being insecure about the thing I was doing, the art itself, where it's like, maybe I'm not talented enough, because I've been in this for a certain period of time and I'm not having the level of success that I'd like. And then feeling like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And then thinking, well, okay, maybe regardless if I'm good or not, maybe it's just not possible to really make a living here. Or it's just, you have to get really lucky, or it's just a very small percentage. And I know for me, especially, like the part about being insecure about, is my work good enough? Part of how I have been able to overcome that is connecting with the right people and saying like, okay, I do have limitations in certain areas, like let's say with my music, right? But then for me, it was connecting with other people who those are their strengths. And then, another thing was taking those weaknesses and figuring out how to turn them into strengths. So for example, for me, I've somebody who's dealt with anxiety and depression for most of my life. And, when it was at its worst, I've had times where it's like, man, I didn't even really, leave my bedroom for a long period of time, because it was like, I just was really overcome by that anxiety. And so knowing, starting to learn about entrepreneurship and stuff, realizing like, okay, having a personal brand is so important. I have to be on video and I have to be able to talk to people, was something like, well, there's no way I can do that. Like, that's not me. Like I'm the quietest guy at a party or whatever. Like, but for me, it was practicing that and learning how to do that. And then eventually getting a little more comfortable doing it. And it's still a struggle, honestly, but I'm getting more and more comfortable doing it. But what's really interesting is that the fact that that was my background, that I have been so anxious about it and had, felt so awkward and whatever, is that now I'm in a position where I'm teaching other producers specifically, but, other people like, hey, you got to get on video and whatever. And like, but now it becomes a strength that they can see like, oh my God, like this guy was worse than me. That's for sure. Where like, he's super anxious and awkward and whatever. Like, okay, I'm not even as bad as he was. and look, he's actually, he's doing it. And so now all of a sudden that weakness has become a strength, where it's something that helps to, show other people what's possible, helps to inspire other people, helps for me when I'm teaching other people, for them to see that it's possible for them as well. So those weaknesses, even though it doesn't seem like it at the time, a lot of times end up being your biggest strengths, becomes the reason why people can connect with you, becomes the reason why people believe that it's possible for them too, is because they realize that whatever their weaknesses are, whatever their shortcomings are, whatever, that those things can become their strengths as well.
I love that so much. And preparing for the podcast today, we were talking about some subjects, where it needed to go. And like that one was just really on my heart, like helping people realize not to focus on everything that they don't have, but focus on, your natural gifts and what you were blessed with and made and created, put on this earth to do. And it was, you said 2 points there, and that I really, really want to make sure we give everybody a chance to absorb. The first one, you said, find people to fill in the gap. I think I really felt like when I was first beginning, I struggled with comparing myself to everybody else. Like, oh gosh, I'll never be that good. I'll never be that confident. I'll never know all that. And then finally, I realized I don't have to know all that. Google exists for a reason. YouTube exists for a reason. And the world of marketing, especially within social media, can change on a dime. So I was holding myself to a completely unrealistic standard to try to know everything. And as soon as I realized I never wanted to be the smartest person in the room again, that was so freeing, and like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. And then the second point, you said to turn your weaknesses into a strength. And I realized that too, that in sharing those weak moments and those vulnerable moments with the people that I was teaching and coaching, and you're doing the same with music artists and producers, other producers now, showing them, look, it was not hard. It was not easy for me. It's hard, and for them, like, I realized the more that I shared my struggles, the more it gave other people permission to succeed through their own struggles. And that was game changing for me. So I really appreciate you sharing, especially that, to really be able to completely own the weaknesses, and they will become strengths. So with that, do you want to wrap up and kind of just share maybe what your biggest transformation was, and looking back, because we didn't mention it in the intro, but I'm so excited for you, because now you're coming up in January, you're going to be speaking on the stage at Funnel Hacking Live, probably close to or over 5,000 people, and they're going to get to hear your message and your story, and what a way to really look back and see, like, all of the struggle was worth it. What is the biggest thing that you could attribute this to? Like, was there something that helped you just keep going, or a mentor that stepped in at the right time? Like, was there something that kind of just comes to the surface and is like, that was a fork in a road, and I'm so thankful I took it?
Yeah, man. It's crazy just hearing that. Is like, oh my God, I am speaking at Funnel Hacking Live. Like, this is nuts. But I think that's something that I want to share with people, is like, I went to Funnel Hacking Live. The first one I went to was, I think, 2018. I think that's right. 2 years ago. And I remember I was there, and I remember just kind of like wandering around in the lobby and just feeling like, man, like, did I make a mistake? Like, that at that time, that was the most money I'd ever invested in my business, as far as like paying for a plane ticket, paying for the hotel, taking a week off essentially, where, I couldn't really work. And I remember being there and thinking like, man, did I make a mistake? Like, am I in over my head? Like, these are like real entrepreneurs here. These are like real marketers. These people have real businesses. Like, I'm just this dude, this music guy. And I remember, just feeling out of place and feeling like, not knowing if I even deserve to be there, if I'm somebody who's, at the level of any of the people around me, of any of those, thousands of people. And so when you were just saying that, of like, you're going to be speaking at Funnel Hacking Live, it kind of honestly just kind of hit me right now, of like, oh my God, like that same kid, and this was like 2 years ago or whatever, like, who was so overwhelmed, didn't know if they deserved to even be there, is now in a position where I get to actually be on stage and share my story and I've been able to accomplish some pretty cool things. And so I guess if nothing else, I do want to just let anybody know who's listening who maybe does feel like, hey, I don't know if I really am, who I want to be. I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I deserve to be here. I don't know if I have the talent, or if I have, if because I'm too anxious, or because I'm too shy, or because don't think I'm smart enough, or because whatever reason, like, you might be thinking, like, it's actually possible. And I think the more you see people do that, that's how you realize it's possible as well. And I know for me, that's what it was, that I saw, like, my buddy Anno Domini, and saw that he had come from, being a broke kid to like selling beats online, and he got his 2 Comma Club award, and like seeing that was like, oh my God, like this is possible. And seeing people in, we're in this coaching program, the 2CCX coaching program, and seeing other people be successful there. And so for me, that was the biggest thing, is seeing that other people can do it helped me realize that it's possible. And now it's like so humbling and so cool to at least hope that now I'm in a position now where people will see that story and be like, okay, well, if that kid did it, like, I guess I can do it. Like, he's in some weird niche where he's selling beats online. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And, he's super awkward and anxious and whatever. And now, and now in the position that I'm in. So to me, I think that's just a message that I want to get out there to people, is that it is possible, and it's possible for you. If I can do it, you can do it. And it's just it's a fun game to play. And I'm grateful that I get to play.
That is awesome. So Orlando was my first kind of dive into the deep end too. And when you talk about investment, I didn't even, it's not cheap to attend, first of all, just for the ticket itself, but the program that we both joined. And I feel like it set me on a trajectory that I never would have in a million years thought not only I was personally capable of, but that it was like existed. Like this, like, is almost as foreign as like something that George Lucas would write in a Star Wars galaxy. But like you said, the more that you show up and you're exposed to other people's stories, the more believable it becomes for yourself. And so that's just incredible. And it's just 2 years ago. So that was definitely a huge fork in the road. And it was about the investment of time. And you talk about a huge leap of faith. It's one of those things where I really think, like, looking back, you just have to be like crazy determined, but at the same time willing to bet on yourself. Just know that if you show up and you invest, you will work your butt off, like, to make it through. So, and you've worked so hard, and it's been a joy watching. So thank you so much. I know we're coming up on the top of the hour, and I'm usually like right on there, and I don't want you to stress out to get to your next appointment. But Gabe, thank you so much for spending time with us. And I cannot wait to see you in person. Are you going on the cruise also, or just to Funnel Hacking Live?
Yeah, I'll be there for both.
Woohoo! Okay, so maybe we'll do another little sneak peek on the podcast or something to see what we have coming up. But thank you so much. Do you have any final closing thoughts you'd like to share?
I just want to thank you for having me on. And I think that, what you're doing here with this podcast, what you've done in the coaching program, is really living exactly what we're talking about, which is inspiring people, which is showing people what's possible, showing them that it's possible for them. And not only, like you said, that it's possible for them, but like stuff that like they didn't even think existed is possible. That, so I'm super proud of you. And I think it's amazing how you've, transformed so many lives and your journey. So, and that's exactly what you're doing here with this podcast, with the coaching, with all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you letting me be a part of it here. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe, so much. And that is absolutely 100% my goal with every interview, every podcast, is that it gets someone closer to seeing that vision of themselves and that story that they hear, or the struggle that was shared, and seeing someone be faced with challenge, create that, and leverage that life lesson into something greater. So thank you so much. And we will definitely, let's share your business and where people can connect with you. And I'll add anything that we may have missed to the resources for amplifymyimpact.com.
Cool. Yeah. So if people want to follow me on Instagram, it's at Legion Gabe. And my stuff is pretty niche specific. But if you happen to be a hip hop producer and you want to learn how to sell beats online, you can go to midimoney.com. And we've got a free webinar that kind of teaches about that. And if anybody just wants to kind of see what we're doing and wants to funnel hack us and use it for their niche, if you go to legionbeats.com/free, that's going to take you sort of the front of our funnel that we have for artists, for rappers and singers. And so you might get some ideas of what you could do there. But probably best place to connect with me personally is going to be at Legion Gabe on Instagram.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will let you go and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much, Gabe.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I hope you've received value, encouragement, and exactly what you need to help keep you in momentum to grow and impact the world around you. Big or small, we all make a difference. Thanks also for subscribing, downloading, and leaving a review. This helps us reach others who need this message in their life. If you know anyone who would benefit from this podcast, please share so you and I can help more people boldly step into purpose. It is my heart's mission to help and encourage others. My internal belief that a rising tide lifts all ships. So much of what we talk about on the podcast is leading with value and building relationships through service. So we've created a collection of resources for you to continue growing, whether you are just getting started or ready to scale your business. Visit amplifymyimpact.com for show notes, downloads, programs, and more information about how to directly work with our team to amplify your impact and change the world.